Hi everybody, welcome back to Birdsong Audiology. My name's Alicia and today I'm going to talk about 5 signs of hearing loss that you might be ignoring. Many people think of hearing loss as just about volume, and even though that can be a factor, there are a lot more subtle signs of hearing loss that are easy to miss if you don't know what to look for. So if you're noticing any of these things, it might be time to check your hearing. Feel free to share this video with a loved one if you think it might be time for them to check their hearing. First up, have you noticed yourself turning up the TV lately? Or maybe you notice that your spouse or your parents, they're turning up the TV. So when you're watching TV, you can't control things like the level of the background music. You can't control whether or not you're facing the person who's talking. And because of that, it becomes harder to hear on the TV. You might think, oh, my TV's not working as well as it used to, or maybe the audio mix isn't very good. If you continue to notice issues hearing the TV, you might want to consider checking your hearing. Now, let's talk about background noise. It's really common to have trouble hearing in a noisy environment. Think about a restaurant. There's dishes clanging, the servers are talking to different people at the same time. You might hear footsteps, you might hear people eating their food. So there's all sorts of sounds being combined. When you have normal hearing, it can be a little bit of a challenge to hear in a restaurant, but you can probably hear pretty well. When you start to have hearing loss, it becomes a lot more difficult to hear in these noisy environments where you really need to rely on having good hearing. Another sign of hearing loss is tinnitus. Now, tinnitus can occur on its own without any hearing loss, but sometimes having tinnitus is a side effect of having a hearing loss. If you feel like your tinnitus interferes with hearing conversation and gets in the way of your hearing, then it's definitely time to check out what your hearing looks like, because it becomes possible that the tinnitus might be a side effect of the hearing loss, and the hearing loss is making it difficult to hear what people are saying. Another subtle sign of hearing loss is having trouble hearing on the phone. Now, the phone is tricky. You don't get to lip read when you're listening on the phone, which means you need to rely solely on how well you're hearing. If you start to have hearing loss, not having any extra help with lip reading means it's a lot harder to be able to hear the conversation. So if you're noticing yourself needing to turn up the volume quite a bit on your phone, and you feel like people are mumbling a bit on the phone, then you might want to look into whether or not it's your hearing that's causing that. The last sign of hearing loss that you could be missing would be listening fatigue. Now, listening to people takes effort. It takes attention. When you have hearing loss, it means there are gaps in sounds that your brain needs to constantly be filling in because they're missing. That makes listening extra draining and tiring. So if you find yourself having a hard time when you're socializing and you're feeling extra tired after socializing, it could be it was just draining having all that activity, but it could also be that your hearing is making it harder to have all that conversation. So if any of these signs of hearing loss sound familiar, know that you're not alone. Lots of people have problems with their hearing, and definitely intervention with your hearing makes a really big difference for all of these kinds of challenges. If you're ready to take the next step, book a hearing assessment, find out what your hearing looks like, and hopefully you can start making steps towards hearing better. If you have any questions, please reach out. My name is Alicia at Birdsong Audiology. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, hit subscribe, share it with a friend, and I'll see you next time.